I'm Doug. Join me as we follow the moon. We are exploring Flagstaff, Arizona. And Flagstaff, Arizona has its history rooted deeply in Route 66 running right through the middle of town, as well as the real history. We're in front of Flagstaff Station right now. And Cathy will be with us off and on throughout this video, but we want to make sure that you enjoy a great time and see a little bit of everything that Flagstaff offers. So come along. And boy, does Flagstaff offer a lot. We start off at Picture Canyon. And Picture Canyon, this is a not a long trail, and I'm trying to remember if it was maybe a mile and a half.
I was going to say, it did take us about an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah. But it gives you so much. This one, the first spot along this trail is a petroglyph viewpoint. And of course, my eyes go to the canyon wall across from us, but I don't really see anything. There, you hear water. There's a beautiful waterfall over on that canyon wall.
More on it later.
Yep. But when you look straight down, you'll see these rocks, and the rocks are where the petroglyphs are.
And we've seen that before, where the rocks fall. Think of how many of them fall with the face down, and you don't even know that they're there.
Now, this is a little Native American ruin back here. And as you're walking back the trail, I see these areas and I think, well, this might have been like foundational ruins, but it wasn't. This is where we were going. And it's just a little round foundation.
And it's perched kind of on the edge of the cliff.
Mm-hmm. So they've got a view of the canyon below as well as anything that would be approaching from up above.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on back the trail. The trailhead will bear off to the right. And this area is another petroglyph area. It's the waterfall petroglyphs.
And you take off of the main trail and walk for, I don't know, a little bit.
Yeah, it's about 1/10 of a mile from the main trail back to this.
But it's so worth it.
Yeah, definitely want to do this. These petroglyphs back here are really, I mean, they're easy to see. You can walk right up to them, but they're very detailed. They're not as stick figures what you see some of them. They're very, very detailed.
Yeah.
And they have signs beside them that show them and what the believed meanings of some of these are. Yeah, the deer pictures are especially detailed.
Mm-hmm.
And there are the waterfowl, the ostrich-looking birds. They're
the aliens.
People. Yeah. I was going with people, but you're probably right. And it's all in that little area right there. And it's all just right off the side of the path. So it's 1/10 of a mile back here to it. Definitely worth it.
I think that was a guy just flexing his muscles, showing off.
They all tell a story. It's just how you interpret that story.
That's right.
So from there, we go back to the main trail, and you know you're at the main trail when right there on your right is this little bridge. There wasn't a whole lot of activity underneath it, but there were a lot of little tadpoles or little baby fish or something down in there. And you go across the bridge just a short ways and the path starts to bend back to on the other side of the canyon. There's a good bit of shade on this side too, which helps.
Yeah, we were kind of glad that we took the sunny in the early part and then had the shade going back. At that point, you're like getting warm.
Now this is the same waterfall, but there is a viewing area for it from this side of the canyon, and you do actually have a better view from this side. Now these are railroad trestles, and the railroad trestles were put in here originally for the lumber.
Yes.
And the lumber, the mill for the lumber was actually where the Flagstaff Mall now sits, probably a half to 3/4 of a mile away. And so this rail line was put in. This trestle, there's just a few remnants of it left. There's not much of it left. There's a lot of nature to see on this trail.
That bird was so pretty.
Yeah, I don't know if he was a woodpecker or what he was, but he was fun. And these squirrels were amazing. They are a squirrel that's native to this area, and they're gray, they're big and fluffy. They are really fun to watch. And then you've got the little lake at the end of the trail, just as you head back to the parking area. Now downtown Flagstaff, definitely something you want to see. It's not like it's Old West, but it's definitely vintage.
It's kind of a poppin' place.
It is. This was a county courthouse, and they've since added on new modern courthouse attached to this. But you know it's vintage when there's a payphone out in front. There's a map of the downtown. This is their federal building, which is no longer a federal building. A lot of the buildings have been repurposed from their original use.
It's really a neat little town.
It really is.
Kind of in between being busy and laid back.
Yeah, kind of sleepy. I love these hotels, and keep in mind Route 66 went right through the middle of Flagstaff, so you end up with a lot of these old hotels. You'll see that sign there, Babbitt Brothers. That was a furniture business, but Babbitt Brothers were also prominent people in the community and also were local politicians. We stopped for a bite at the Juice Pub, and this place was really, really neat. It was one of the few places downtown that had outdoor seating.
Which we're always looking for.
And it also had free parking, which all the parking in the downtown is paid. Cathy had one called Hatch 22 that was turkey and green hatch chilies. I had a jalapeno popper sandwich that was ham and cream cheese and jalapeno, and it was great. Now here's an old building here for you, the Church of the Nativity. This is still used, but it's not used for the Sunday masses anymore because it just wasn't large enough. It wasn't open that you could go in, but that was a Joseph in his carpentry shop out in front. That is all made of lava rock, and that's one thing that makes this very unique.
And then it's got the pink, I don't know if that was brick or...
Yeah, the pink painted part
You
on
could
it.
see it a ways off. It was beautiful.
We saw Old Town shops, and normally that's a sign for the really old historic part. Well, not so much. But
It was swanky looking there.
yeah, they had some really cool looking shops in there. That one had that half a truck up on the wall. I liked that. But it had some neat little shops, so we threw that in here for you. And you'll find the BNSF Railroad Depot downtown. This sets Route 66 on the right. the tracks on the left. And BNSF is still very active on that route, as you can see. Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Another railroad depot sits just beside the BNSF, and that is now the visitor center as well as the Amtrak station. Celebrating the 2026 will be the 100th anniversary of Route 66. So we'll be touring it on the first century.
That's right.
And then this is the other side where the Amtrak station is. You can see signs in the air there for hotels. There's a couple of them right there that go back to the Route 66 days. This I thought was interesting. This was what when they fell these huge big logs, they would get them hoisted up on that and tow them back into the area to put them back on the trains. And logging becomes real important with the Riordan Mansion. The Riordan Mansion, this is a historic museum. It's actually a state park, and the Riordan family deeded all of this over to the state back in the 1970s. As you go through the mansion, the interior is all furnished with their actual original furniture. It's not been staged to look like what it probably looked like. It's actually the way they left it. And it was two brothers, and they ran the lumber mill in the area, and that's where the family fortune grew from. And you'll see there's an area there in the middle with these two houses on both sides. One brother, his wife, and 3 children lived in the one side. The other brother and his wife, who was also a sister to the other wife, and their 6 children lived in the other side. They did not allow video inside, but they did allow still photography. The boys on the outsides were the brothers, and the women on the outsides were the sisters that married. And so we do have some good still pictures. They were so affluent that that house was built with indoor plumbing, it was built with electrical lighting, and it had bathrooms inside. And that was a first for anybody in that area.
It's a beautiful building, inside and out.
It was actually designed by the same fellow that designed the lodge at the Grand Canyon, and he did both of these designs in the same year.
I love that stove.
That was their ice box. They loaded the ice in from outside, and as it drained, it went down to the basement, and they recycled the water for laundry. Love that tape. That was their little breakfast room.
I love that room.
Yeah, and the stained glass was beautiful. That is a Steinway piano.
Wow.
That's one of the most valuable Steinway pianos in the world.
It took up 2 rooms.
Mm-hmm. That room has a swing in it. And in the winter, it swings towards the fireplace, and in the summer, you turn it around and the doors open up and you swing towards the outside. The other side has been made up into a museum. Our last stop is the Lowell Observatory. And the observatory has got a visitor center that you'll see here, and they do tours. We didn't take the tour of the observatory. It would be a fun thing to do. But the big reason it came up here is it sits up above the city, and it says, "Enjoy the view." This is your best aerial view of downtown Flagstaff.
Hence the name Observatory.
That's right. Beautiful, small town, big city. Well, I hope you've enjoyed Flagstaff, Arizona as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. It's great to see a city like this embracing its past and alive and well here in Flagstaff, getting ready to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Route 66 coming up in 2026. We'll be making that celebration in 2025 as we go the length of Route 66. We want to make sure you'll come along with us as we enjoy that also. So with that, if you've enjoyed the video today, leave us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, watch for the button up in this corner. At the end of the video, you can tap on that, ring the notification bell. You'll know when every one of our videos come out, including the start of our Route 66 videos in a few months. And until next time, thank you for following us as we follow the moon.